I am here today with Casey Ryerson. I'm sure you've seen her around town. I run into her at several events throughout a month because it seems like that's all you do, but I know that that's not true. Welcome, Casey.
Thank you. I'm excited to be here.
So I have we met a while ago, and then I do run into you quite a bit, but I have never, and I apologize for this, sat down and asked you about I'll Be There. So I need you to tell me what your business is all about, and how I can help.
First of all, I want to share that I've been in the senior care industry for it's year 14. I started back in 2010. And I have been inside assisted living buildings working. I've been a executive director for 2 of those years. And then I also worked in home health and home care inside the different companies. I have been in the senior care industry. This will be year 14. And I've worked as an executive director, and I've worked in home health, home care, and then, of course, in marketing. I've helped over 1,000 families, thousands of families find the right senior care and
Wow.
knowledgeable in the industry.
Yeah.
So my building, as you would guess, is helping people find senior care.
Yeah.
My building.
Well, let me just say, I recently moved my mom and my stepdad up to Maryland from South Carolina, and he had some severe health issues and unfortunately passed from that. But the time in between them coming here and the point at which he passed, it's very stressful. I think having an advocate like you that's worked in the industry, that understands the language, that knows the questions to ask. You're the advocate for the caregivers, right?
Yeah, and it's interesting that you asked that. This role started back in 2000, and the model is that I have contracts with assisted livings and home care companies, and they pay me to put the right person in front of them. So
Okay. So you're evaluating on the patient side or client side for them.
Yes, and it's very interesting because I bought a franchise. I have over 1,400 communities across the United States. I have national contracts and I have local contracts that I can help families with. And the franchise that I bought believes in crossing territories and crossing boundaries to help the families. My home base is in Frederick, Maryland, but I can make placements all over the United States at this point, which is very powerful.
Well, that is amazing to know because again, if the situation wasn't as it is, if I had my mom in South Carolina, then I could contact you and say, please help me to find her a spot near her home where she doesn't have to be uprooted.
Sure. Our franchises are listed on our website.
Okay.
Rapidly growing, and that's something as a franchisee, I am the poster child for our franchise.
I love it.
I earned Franchisee of the Year through the International Franchise Association. So my business is now internationally awarded.
That is amazing.
And I am the only placement company in Frederick that has that international franchisee awarded designation. So it's very powerful. I'm excited about it.
Well, it shows that hard work pays off and that, getting out there and networking with people and, constantly working to grow your business works, obviously. So that's great.
Yeah, I absolutely have a passion for helping others and the experience to be able to provide the peace out of chaos that it comes when you search for senior care.
Yeah. Yeah. So do you have any advice for somebody who, I'm assuming like kind of around my age who has aging parents or, aunts or whatever, what should the first thing be that people do and how early should people start planning for this?
There's never too early, believe it or not, because we're all aging. If you look at statistically, once we reach the age of 65, we have 1 in 4 chance to go into a nursing home. And once you reach 85, we have a 2 in 4 chance. But I find that people always believe it's going to be somebody else, not them.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. And, what I have come to find is the decline can happen extraordinarily fast. And that's something that a lot of people aren't expecting. And again, in the case of my stepfather, it was very, very fast decline. And so you're really kind of scrambling to try to figure out how you can care for your loved ones.
And the huge piece about working with myself as a placement agency is I have the needle in the haystacks. You're looking for a certain level of care for a certain price point. I can find that much easier than you because some of the smaller communities can't even afford to advertise on the internet, but
Yeah.
yet they're the diamonds in the rough.
Yeah. Yeah. That's unbelievable, really. And I'm so glad to know about this now because, I still have step parents and I have parents. So I still have plenty of options to come to you. So would you recommend somebody like me come to you now and kind of start a conversation, even though you're not ready for placement? Or for you and your business, is it important to kind of, at what point do we reach out?
Yeah, it's important to be knowledgeable, but the market itself is forever changing and changing quickly. So a place that's available today or a home care that's available today might not be available tomorrow. So
Right, right.
yeah, it's important to kind of know the price points, but to do the actual research, my best client is coming from the hospital. So I know
Okay.
all the time because the discharge starts upon admission at the hospital. And with my knowledge and expertise in the years of service, with my knowledge and expertise in the years of service and dedication that I have for the seniors, I've been able to have somebody call me on Wednesday around noon and they are touring a community after talking to me by the evening and they're placing a deposit that evening to move in the next day. I'm not
Wow.
saying that's the best, but I'm just saying that it can happen when you work with me as a placement agency with I'll Be There.
So how do people get in touch with you, or what is the best way to kind of start the conversation?
Well, the easiest way to get in touch with me is through my website. That is the quickest way.
Okay.
You go to www.owlbethere.com, and yes, it's the bird. I wrote it on the picture. You look for I'll Be There, Frederick and Loudon. We do
Okay.
have other locations, and you can get to the other locations through the website. But I'm the lady at the Frederick and Loudon contact area.
Awesome. What is one thing you would want people to know if they took one thing away from this interview? What would that be?
You always have options. Do not
That's great.
sit in your first choice
Yeah.
because
That's great advice, actually. Yes,
yeah,
because sometimes you feel like there are no options, and you're right. If you don't know about the places like that, then yeah, that makes sense.
I being in the industry as long as I've been in the industry, inside the buildings, believe it or not, during the time of COVID, I started my business 2 years ago. I slept on my office on a cot, taking care of our residents, making sure they were taken care of.
Oh my.
Standing that knowledge and level of expertise, sometimes you will be accepted into a building. 30 days, 6 months, a year later, they'll give you a discharge notice because you're too high level of care. They'll tell you that you're skilled care only. That is within their knowledge, not within the placement agency's knowledge. I have beautiful, wonderful options that are not only skilled care, but they're licensed level 3 communities across the states that are
Yeah.
so beautiful as well.
That's incredible. It really is. And again, what a great resource you are to a family who is, again, probably stressed out and panicked and trying to figure out the best level of care for the people they love. And you hear these terrible stories and you you feel like you're kind of, making those decisions without all the knowledge. So the fact that you have all the knowledge is excellent.
I would like to add, as a part of having the knowledge, the biggest piece with me having that being in the industry, working in the buildings, working in the home care agencies is something that you mentioned earlier in the beginning of the interview. Number one, understanding to ask the right questions, because the quality of our questions determines the quality of our lives.
Yeah.
So sometimes the families just don't know the right questions to ask. They know what they want, but they don't know the right questions to ask. And number two, of course, Dani, I know that you understand this piece, is to know the person who you have to ask the questions from. So understanding who you need to communicate to is key.
Yeah. What do you think is the biggest challenge for you or this business or this industry in the coming years?
Um, I'm going to say it is the communication that the families in the industries need to understand how to get a little bit better. And I won't blame it on one or the other, but being in the industry and working alongside the best community that I worked with, the executive director of that community asked the families to contact her immediately if they thought something was wrong. She had her cell phone on 7 days a week. She responded via text. Real important for you to know the key players to communicate to, or it's just going to fester and it's going to get worse and worse and worse. So I think that the industry definitely has to work on just understanding who to communicate to.
I would 100% agree with that. Again, just based on my own short experience. Any final thoughts that you would want everybody to know? This has been fat. I could talk to you for an hour about this. But, yeah.
I want people to understand my particular role in the industry. It's almost like a matchmaker, and I love connecting the right person at the right place for the right price.
Yeah.
That's really key when you work as a matchmaker in the senior care industry.
Let me ask you real quick, because that just made me think of something else. As far as like private pay, insurance, how do you work with all of those or help people match them based on that as well?
I wish, and everybody in the industry wishes, that the insurance would pay, but unfortunately they do not, except you're talking about rehab or anything medically necessary like home health, hospice, or rehab. As
Okay.
far as the other level of care, it's actually private pay.
Okay.
So I have communities right now, which is unheard of, that I can have families at $2,800 a month for 24/7 care secured around the clock.
Yeah.
And then it goes upwards of there. For the same
Yeah.
level of care, depending on the building, you could be $15,000 a month.
Oh yeah, no, that's that's right in line with what we were quoted at the time, and so I totally get it.
And I mentioned two programs just so families know. There's long-term care. So in your 50s, you definitely want to start planning for long-term care, talking to your financial services representative. And then there's veterans aid in attendance. That's somebody who is a veteran that served at least 90 days, and at least one of those times during war. They will help the veterans pay for the assisted living private pay.
Yeah, and that we were very lucky that my stepdad was a veteran, and the VA was amazing in the end, actually. And that was great. But yeah, that's really good to know for people as well. Well, Casey, thank you so much. We'll put the website up on the screen. Make sure you check it out. It's just good information to have. Bookmark her website just in case for the future. And I'm sure you will see her around Frederick very soon.